Woodies, proud sponsor of Super Garden.
Welcome to Kells, County Meath, a new housing development called Riverside, and the home for this year's Super Garden competition. 5 designers have each been given a garden as their blank canvas to create their Super Garden. Competing alongside each other, they have just 3 weeks to finish their design. The winning garden will be recreated at Boardbea's Bloom Garden Show. Deciding who wins are the 3 Super Garden judges. Representing Boardbea's Bloom, Gary Graham. For Dulux Exteriors, design lecturer Monica Alvarez. And Woody's design ambassador and former Super Garden winner Brian Burke.
So we're going to change this now again.
It's more fun than lifting them up.
And then there's no point in talking about it, you just need to take the blocks out. 5
designers, 5 gardens, but only one can win. Welcome to Super Garden. This brand new development in Riverside, Kells, has been built by Meath County Council for social housing. And it is the home for this year's Super Garden competition. 5 designers have each been allocated a garden in the estate.
Okay, that's enough. It's going to be too heavy for me.
Working alongside each other, they have 2 weeks to design and 3 weeks to build a show garden for the new residents. To do so, they have a budget of €15,000. Today's designer is Mary Ann Farrandon from Belfast.
I would say that I'm quite chaotic, but in a good way and in a productive way.
Multi-talented Mary Ann is a force of creative energy. She's worked as an architect, an artist, a singer, and even a wrestling announcer.
To other people, sometimes it might seem like everything is just up in the air, but every detail is in my head, like 1000%.
Mary Ann's chaotic creativity is about to be unleashed as she visits her garden for the first time.
Oh, amazing. Okay. Okay, so they obviously have children, and they might have a pet. I wonder if they have a pet, because I see little patches. Which is that? Oh, yeah, there is a dog. I knew it. Hey, doggy.
Now it's time to meet the homeowners.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, this is so exciting, isn't it?
We're the Divine family. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Shannon, and we have 3 kids, Noah, who is 4, Daisy, who's 3, and Arthur, who's 6 months old.
The Divines are a very busy family with 3 children under 4.
Be careful.
They also have 2 very active dogs. Renting for this young family hasn't been easy.
So we had a lot of rental houses and a lot of houses that we had to leave, and things went wrong, so.
It's our 9th house.
It's our 9th house in 7 years, yeah.
But now they've found a forever home at Riverside.
When we got this house, it was this kind of sigh of relief.
So what kind of thing were you guys like in your garden?
Maybe something with a roof over it that the light can still get in, that you're getting the heat and the light.
100%.
But are protected from the weather. I think particularly with the kids, this garden is so exciting for them because they've never had a garden that's theirs. So we were thinking just a good area of the garden to be like just for them because they're so excited. Wooden swings or
just something the kids are going to go,
something that
wow.
they're going to, because like we'll have ours and they'll have theirs, so it'll be nice and comfortable for everybody.
Well, both of them and myself had the same sort of ideas already going forward, so it was perfect.
She's exactly what we wanted, so I can't wait to see what she comes back to us with.
So my design is called Enchanted Playland, and it is a woodland wonderland style for kids and adults.
Mary Ann's Enchanted Playland bravely aims to create a woodland in the suburban garden. From the side gate, a willow-lined gravel path leads to a log playhouse surrounded by toadstools. A gate leads into a grass area for dogs, but will anyone else get to use it? Wooden stepping logs lead to another play area, this one with tire climbing frame, swing and slide. The adults haven't been totally forgotten. A timber decking leads directly from the house to a picnic bench and table under a wooden pergola with a protective perspex roof. Brickwork planters contain herbs, fruit and perennials and give the garden its form. The whole area is hidden under a canopy of trees to complete that woodland effect. This busy garden is crammed full of design ideas from fairy doors to blackboards. But will Mary Ann be able to deliver so much detail?
The biggest risk with this design is that there's nearly too much going on. It's actually crammed full of fantastic features. If you go in there and the eye doesn't settle, you won't relax.
It's day 1, and Mary Ann is so focused on winning the competition, she's moved herself and her dog Susan
Can you say hello?
and all her worldly possessions to Meath for a month.
So in the back of the car, it is part landscaping, a wheelbarrow, there's all the drills and tools and saws, but then it's also all my stuff for a month.
To squeeze all her ideas into the garden, Mary Ann's first going to have to empty it.
So that's the easy part. Oh yeah, here we go.
Mary Ann is planning to save money by digging out her lawn by hand.
Ha! So I'm not hiring a digger because it's really expensive.
But it looks like that's going to be harder than expected.
This is not moving.
So she's decided to soften the dry, hard ground with water. But
because the hose doesn't fit, I have 3 buckets, so that will be soaking the soil. Build the muscles, keep on watering.
day 1 down, and Mary Ann's lawn is still not up. Day 2 begins with the hosing she should have started with, and she's conceded and hired a turf cutter.
Oh my god, no, but that's like solid under there. Do we scrap the turf cutter and get a digger?
But with a lot more hosing and help from her homeowners, Mary Ann can finally get some turf up. At the end of day 2, she manages to get the supports for her pergola sunk.
I'm tired but happy. Like, it just goes to show you don't have to hire a digger.
With progress slow, Mary Ann decides to take a peek into the garden of fellow competitor Kathleen.
She's done so much.
I was thinking about plastering and then I decided against it. She's definitely had professional help though, which is, you know, there's nothing against that, like, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's a different kind of thing that I've got done.
In order to catch up, Mary Ann has drafted in her college friends from Belfast to help with those walls.
Good, this is good.
But she's skipping the plastering and going straight to the paint.
Yeah, I've not got plastering done, but I'm not plastering, so it doesn't bother me. Oh, my trees are here! Oh yay, that's cheered me up, okay. Hi.
Mary Ann's woodland garden effect relies on a canopy
So excited for my white beam.
from a large number of trees.
Oh my god, that is tall.
Despite being in the early stages of her build,
Is it big enough?
she's already planting them.
The reason that the trees are going in early is because the hard landscaping, so they're being built around the trees. Let me see what it looks like from far away. Oh, this is so pretty.
Mary Ann is using timber logs around the garden for her edging and her swing, which means she has a lot of chopping and sawing to get through.
So, I don't know. I'm just not feeling super peppy today.
It's day 8, and Mary Ann has done a complete 180 on her walls.
I had a bit of a I had a change of heart. I think that the walls would look better plastered.
Which means she's wasted the previous day's work.
Anytime anyone's asked me, it's like, why didn't you plaster them? The only answer I have is, oh, it's more textural, and then I just hate that answer. And also, I need to repaint them anyway because I don't want them to look like a bathroom, and I don't like the baby Hulk thing I've got going on with the purple.
With the pressure building and Mary Ann's schedule looking increasingly chaotic, how would she cope with a visit from Super Garden judge Gary Graham?
Mary Ann,
How are you?
how are you?
Yeah, doing great. Really happy.
You said that very quickly, doing great, really happy.
Yeah. I am buzzing.
Miss Positive.
Oh, try and shake me.
All right, go on ahead, so. Are you where you need to be?
Yes. I'm actually further on than I need
I
to be.
don't like the way you respond so quickly because it doesn't convince me.
Really?
Really.
Oh no, I have 85 things running in my head right now, but like I am where I need to be.
Gary's confused by some of the changes Mary Ann has made in the garden.
I'm seeing many changes from the original design. Like I can see now
I've plastered.
on the wall,
Yeah.
and I can see paint underneath the plaster. So obviously,
Yeah, I changed that.
I'm not convinced about keeping the pillars. So
Okay.
I'm not going to ask you to defend it.
Okay.
I just ask you to take it away and think about it.
Okay.
Thankfully, Gary does like some of what he sees.
Let me say to you, I think this pergola is possibly the best feature in the garden. It's certainly
Yeah.
a bit I really, really like. I like the fact that you brought it up to the house.
Yeah.
I like the weight and the size of the timber. I think
Yeah.
it's really strong.
But he is still concerned about the lack of progress in Mary Ann's design.
What I'd like to hear from you actually is less positivity and more reality. I'd like to hear what your concerns are and know that you're thinking
I
about
could
them
list
now.
you, if you want them, I can give you
Give them to me. Let's
Okay.
hear. What are your big concerns?
Okay, so I'm concerned about the fire. I'm concerned about
Mainly I'm concerned about getting that log swing made, making sure there's enough room for that, and the fact that the step over there, I don't know if there's going to be enough. I've got to get a curve in the deck there. I've got to build a frame for the deck. I did originally have a winding thing. I don't know, the logs won't fit because the logs are too big, so the willow was the only real solution. That's something I'm just like, right, that might have to go, think of a different solution. Obviously I have a complex about the pillars, but I really have this like deep-rooted belief that I can't change them. But it's like, I can't escape the fact that that's bothering me. I have a lot of grasses that I want to plant, but I need to find time to go to Tully's to pick them. Oh my God, no, don't. Don't. I don't want to cry. This is why you don't say your problems.
Okay. So that's to me why it sounds like you are giving me all the positive spin, because rather than actually think about the list, have you sat down and actually put them down on paper?
They're always in my mind.
Well, take them out of your mind, sit down. Who's giving you most support or giving you most help in terms of coming up with solutions? You. In order to take the pressure off, just remember that not everything has to happen. Focus on those key areas and make sure they're done and make sure the detailing is right. Yeah. And then, if you have more time, play with other spaces. But give yourself that kind of comfort zone.
Yeah, a bit of breathing room.
Will you take that on board, yeah?
I'm already mentally axing some things.
Good. Delighted to hear that. I have really high hopes for this garden and for you.
Thank you.
It's really heartbreaking for me to see Mary Ann so upset like that, because she's such a positive woman. She really knows what she's doing and she wants to win this competition.
After the break.
Oranges, I would just keep lifting stuff in and then we'll see.
I have to admit, she's turned into a little bit of a dictator over here now.
Little to your left.
Switch your feet. Woody's, proud sponsor of Super...
Oh, look at that garden. Oh, look at that garden.
Riverside in Kells, County Meath is the home to this year's Super Garden competition. 5 designers are competing against each other on the estate, but only one can win. It's 2 days since Judge Gary Graham encouraged her to get help, so Mary Ann's college friends have travelled from Belfast again. This time they brought her tutor Ian.
Like, he's just like, do you mind if I just take over? Like, he literally said this morning, do you want us to just finish the deck? And I was like, yes, I do.
Mary Ann has some tough decisions to make if she's going to complete her enchanted playland garden to a standard necessary to win the competition.
So instead of having like a little cabin there, I'm just going to use the logs, which have got those willows as well. So we can stack them so there'll be like a nice ergonomic seat. And then over there, I'm just going to use a slightly smaller big log for the kids' seat because they don't need that huge big one.
But she's sticking to her guns about the unplastered pillars.
To me, seeing half of the thing plastered at the top would look worse. Like, maybe I will be wrong, but hopefully that'll be like a minor thing when the rest of the garden's in.
And over the next 2 days, her garden starts to take shape.
I'm really relieved to have, firstly, this level of help, and secondly, this level of progress.
Each designer has been given €5,000 to spend on Irish-grown plants. Super Garden judge Brian Burke,
Mary Ann, how are you?
Has some concerns about Mary Ann's plant selections to tackle those boundary walls.
So the overarching idea here is native, it's woodland, it's very naturalised.
Yeah, overgrown.
There's a plant I'd like to show you that I think would work really well within this scheme and theme, and which would soften those stark walls at the back of the garden, and that's the Lonicera.
Yes.
It's a native climber. I think it would harmonise really well with everything that you're trying to do here.
Yeah. So there is one snag with the Lonicera, and that is that all the plants in this garden are also dog friendly. Honeysuckle is not dog friendly.
Okay, so there's canine toxicity issues.
There is.
That's fully accepted, but nevertheless, I think you'll need a climber of some description on that back wall. So maybe something that will tolerate a bit of shade, like Parthenocysis, Boston ivy.
Yeah.
Take on a beautiful crimson colour in the autumn. That's something you could definitely look at.
Definitely.
I think there's a couple of tweaks she can still make, particularly the climber on the back wall. If she can get that right, I think she's onto something special.
Mary Ann selected 2 green paints for her walls. Unsure about which one to use, she's now using both.
I didn't want to wait again another day or 2 for paint to arrive, so I got my problem-solving hat on and decided that I would just use both and did an ombre wall.
An ombre paint effect is created by using two colours, one at the top, one at the bottom, then gradually blending them in the middle.
And I actually love it because it adds depth, and I think that it looks lovely.
It's planting day in Mary Ann's garden.
This is what happens when you've got delicate northern skin. It's burned to a crisp.
For weeks, Mary Ann has been working in direct competition with her fellow designers. Today, she must get her rivals to work for her and plant her garden. To do so, she must reveal her design for the first time.
So welcome everyone. This is the 70% finished Enchanted Playland. Today we are going to get it to 95% finished. Let's go to work.
Perfect.
The more people you have and are all focused on one objective, I think it's easier. It's whenever you have people who don't know what they're doing. Right, Paul, would you mind taking this jasmine in for me?
Giving orders seems to be coming quite naturally.
Don't put them in yet.
No, but...
Or I would just keep lifting stuff in and then we'll see. No, go that way. It's okay if you're
I just don't want to go over the deck.
We'll try and avoid it as much as we can, but if it's necessary, it happens. Do you mean I'm not?
Yeah, okay. No
I'll
problem.
not be annoyed about it or anything.
I don't really like taking orders.
Thank you.
I just don't want to get them kicked, so same plant, they're just over here.
100%. I know we are going to need more soil. If you wouldn't mind going to grab me some soil, please. 20 bags should do us.
No
that would be incredibly helpful. And then by then, you will be standing around. We'll ready to be going in the ground.
Perfect, okay.
Fab. Like, I hope that I wasn't snappy with it, boys.
With the boys out of the way, a serenity falls over the garden and the all-girl crew.
And I don't mean to be sexist, and it's not anything to do with them personally, but this is just, I don't know, it's just kind of easier to do it with women. Like,
More
we just
of a
know.
gentle touch.
Yeah.
Soon enough, the boys return with compost to bulk out Mary Ann's beds, and the team resumes with all hands on deck.
There's a lot of plants here, like ferns and heucheras, so loads of evergreens. They can handle a bit of shade from the wall. Lovely combination here now.
And Mary Ann can get back to giving orders.
I have an idea, but I don't know how I feel about it. What about something tall in the middle, or is that too, like, cliche? Oh, maybe, no, what we need is something in the other corner. So we put some more strawberries over here. No, yes, no.
I have to admit, she's turning into a little bit of a dictator over here now.
Little to your left.
My left?
Yep. A little to the right.
Hang on.
Sorry. I genuinely don't mean to be like that. You're doing amazing, sweetie.
During his visit, Super Garden judge Brian Burke asked Mary Ann to consider using a climber to cover the concrete pillars.
Stay.
She's decided to move an ivy from elsewhere in the garden.
Originally, I was going to put this ivy on the pergola, where the other ivy is at the moment. But whenever I met Brian and we had a chat, he mentioned treating the pillars, and I think he was 100% right. Like, this was a great place for it, and it really does take the edge off it.
As planting day progresses, the enchanted Playland garden starts to cast its spell.
Still a good bit to do in terms of finalising some things, but yeah, no, definitely in a good place. I'm happy. I'm very tired, but very happy.
I definitely think Marianne is competition. It's definitely a garden worthy for bloom. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried now after today, I can tell you that.
With her enchanted Playland garden looking enchanted, there's one key element missing, the swing. But Mary Ann being Mary Ann, this swing has to be built from scratch using logs.
Oh my God. I feel unreal. This is so amazing to see it like in there. Oh, they're gonna love it so much.
Halfway through the build, it looked like Mary Ann wasn't going to get finished. Now, on the final day, she's managed to get her garden complete, having made some tough decisions along the way.
Winning for me would mean so much, because I really put my heart and soul into this garden. But knowing that the people in the industry would think the same and they could see that, that would mean so much. Perfect.
3 weeks ago, this was the garden Mary Ann was given to transform into her enchanted Playland design. This is Mary Ann's Super Garden. Judging day in Riverside, as the Super Garden judges arrive to inspect Mary Ann's finished garden to see if it's good enough to go to bloom.
Wow. Okay. The enchanted playland.
No shortage of impact.
I've noticed that the bottom part of the wall is sort of darker green and then the top part is lighter. I would never have thought of that.
Straight away, I'm looking at the unplastered concrete in the pillars, which we discussed when I was here, and she was adamant they were going to stay like that, and she was wrong. It's not working, I'm afraid.
I suggested to her that she find something to screen those walls, be it a heterohelix, a common ivy, or a Boston ivy. She hasn't done it.
Five designers are vying to win this year's competition. Paul isn't feeling well, so today Kathleen, Amy and Oren watch on without him as Mary Ann faces the Super Garden judges.
Mary Ann, it's a pleasure to be back in the garden. It really is. It's got an atmosphere that's special.
It really does have a fabulous atmosphere.
When I was here last time during the build, you were very overwhelmed. You got quite upset, which was difficult to see. How do you feel now?
I think in this type of garden I'll always feel like I could do more. Like I can always find things to keep going, but I feel overall incredibly proud of myself.
She should be really proud of herself. It's a really good garden.
And pleased with what I've made.
Good.
I paid you a visit during the build. At that point I raised a couple of concerns. The primary one being the back wall.
Yes.
But I made a couple of other suggestions, but you haven't done anything. Do you think that was remiss?
Well, I have done some. I did some along the entrances.
Oh, I know on the side, yeah.
But the ombre effect was what I wanted to be on the walls.
They look really good.
Class.
In relation to the use of the garden for adults and for the family, did you think you have achieved this?
There's enough elements in this garden that people could take and as a show garden, almost like a catalogue, be like, oh, I love that raised bench with a log idea or different parts of it. And so I feel like in that sense it is a show garden, but it also is a fully functional garden for the family.
I think I was very clear in my view. Why leave block concrete wall?
I don't hate them. Like I actually think that they've got a coursing. They're not done in a haphazard way. They're, they work, and I've tried to touch them with the wood rather than try and cover what they are, because I feel like if I just covered it all, it wouldn't have felt right to me.
It doesn't make sense for me, I'm afraid.
That's
and it does actually upset me, because I can see the lengths that you've gone to in different areas in this garden, the detailing that you've done that we don't often see, and yet I'm looking at a block concrete wall and I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Have you done enough to get to bloom?
I think so. Like, we need to future-proof kids in their relationship with the outdoors, and I do think if you have a family, it doesn't just have to be a lawn where they can kick about a ball. Give something engaging and make it magical.
I applaud it. Well done, Mary Ann. Well done, Mary Ann.
Thank you. Thank you.
Best of luck.
Have a lovely day. So all I can think about is, have I ruined my chances by not plastering those pillars? But hopefully, I just hope that they see all the other stuff and not just focus on one negative thing.
What do Mary Ann's fellow contestants think of her finished garden?
I disagree with the point that Gary made of the pillars should have been rendered. I can see what Mary Ann was doing, and I think it looks really, really well.
I think she stood up for herself and stood up for her design, and she should be very proud of herself.
Mary Ann put it up to Gary Graham. I don't think I'd be as brave, to be honest. I wouldn't take on the dragon now, to be honest.
5 weeks ago, Mary Ann met the Devine family for the first time. Now they get to experience her finished garden.
We absolutely love the garden. It's like more than anything we ever thought it was going to be. It's like a dream brought to life.
You pushed me!
I will now, yeah. Whoa. I think the garden is definitely good enough to win.
Will Mary Ann's enchanted playland garden take her to bloom? Or will it be Kathleen Barrett's floral fantasy garden? Or will it be Paul Ferry's way out west garden? Or will it be next week's designer, Oren Field?
So it hasn't left your warehouse.
Who will be trying to impress the judges with his Green Haven garden?
I'm trying to be as calm as I can be.
Go to rte.ie/supergarden for details on everything that went into Mary Ann's super garden.
Now
I'm not the biggest fan of that garden. Ooh, I'd be a big fan of that garden.